I seem to be really focused on manifestation, signs, symbols, synchronicity, all those sorts of things. I've been interested in them for years, but over the past couple of weeks, it's almost like they've all gone into fifth gear with me, or, higher and higher. So I don't know if it's me pushing it and just showing more of an interest, and more clips obviously come up on YouTube with the algorithm, I imagine, because I've watched a few. So that's a natural process. So I don't know if it's that, or if things are coming through for a reason and I'm being sent down that road. And there's a really interesting situation at the moment that I seem to be in. Well, not even in, but it's just happening. And it's interesting to find myself with the time to take note of it and be aware. I'm really enjoying that. I don't want to go into too much detail, but you kind of think there's something that I want. Maybe I'm wanting to manifest it. But there comes a point where lots of things are happening. You think, okay, am I manifesting this? Or are the other people who are involved in it maybe manifesting it? Are they talking about something? And I find myself part of their manifestations. My moments not just synchronistic for me, but are they also synchronistic for the other people involved? And it's probably the first time I've considered things like that. I would have looked at my own manifestations and thought, this is what I'm trying to do. But today I sat in a cafe with my coffee and cake, and just acknowledging, as I looked around, that all those people who were there at the same time, in the same place, for whatever reason. And it's not always from our part, is it? It could be, you could look at it and think, okay, well, I'm sitting there, I'm meant to see something, or hear something, or see someone, or someone else is meant to hear something I say, or I'm meant to prompt, or it could just be that we're all there for each other, or I'm there to observe something, just be part of it, not even observe, but just be a part of something that is happening, that is maybe happening for somebody else for whatever reason. It's not always about us. It's sometimes we have to be somewhere to help something else happen. Do we have to delay somebody? Do we have to boost somebody and not even know that we even were seen or heard by that person? So that's taken it off as a little tangent a little bit there, but I am thinking from my own situation, is all this happening from my point of view, or my part of the actions I'm taking? Do they happen to be somebody else is manifesting them, or asking for that to happen, or just asking for an end point of something for us both to be at, or for me to instigate something? And it just so happens that I'm taking those actions without even knowing where they're leading. It's all interesting, isn't it, to consider this synchronicity and manifesting and signs and symbols. And I do listen to things that come through to me with an open mind. Sometimes I disregard them and think, oh, that's not that's taken it a bit too far for me. I'm not really into that point yet. And a lot of this stuff I would have listened to in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. So maybe just starting my 50s now is the ideal point for me to be aware and take note and happily be part of it and acknowledge that, oh, okay then, maybe my presence is something else. But it's really interesting just to notice. Yeah, I don't know if you can see the robin in this clip. You can certainly see the squirrel, but there's been a robin dotting around the bottom part of the fence. There you go. You might see it a bit more clearly now. You know, these two are meant to meet along this path for some reason. You don't know the signs and symbols, do you? That's the thing, whatever's sent to you, whatever you're considering could be happening. And it doesn't have to happen right away. You know, I've seen in my life how I've had dreams and then years later they've come true in some format, and I've gone, oh, okay, that was a real significant dream I had, however many years ago. You know, there's a couple there that I'm thinking of, and some have happened quicker. And I like to watch now of how quick it's all happening, or still how slow. But there's been times, and I do try to make note of my dreams when I can, when I wake up in the morning, remember them, or wake up in the night and remember them, and sometimes share them with somebody else. So, you know, I can then go back and say, well, yeah, this happened. This robin is determined to be in this clip. You just don't know, do you? You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And there's so many things I've heard that have really helped me. You know, that clip I listened to about it'd be silly not to put up a book that you've done on Kindle into print, because you can get a proof copy or you can get an author's copy, and that really changed things for me. Just hearing that one clip, and I heard it once, and I think I either wound it back or listened to the whole of the podcast again, because I always have podcasts on in the background. But I do pay attention to these things and ask myself if I want to follow through with them. So, but that is my question at the moment: is what's happening, is that part of somebody else's manifestation, as well as mine maybe, or instead of mine, am I part of theirs? Do I find prompts coming to me to do something, to be part of whatever's happening around me? Is it answering my manifestation or answering somebody else's? And then if it's both of us that are on the track with the manifestations and the questions and the queries and the thoughts and whatever, when is it going to come to fruition? And obviously it will come to fruition when the time is right. And I trust that. And that's a big shift, isn't it? Once you get to that point of saying, look, you know what, I'm not in control of this. I also don't want to be. It'll happen when it happens. It'll happen at the right time. And it'll happen in the best way possible. And if it doesn't happen, then maybe it's been for other reasons. You know, the not happening could be part of the learning as well, couldn't it? It could have to happen at a later date. It doesn't have to happen now. It doesn't have to be that important now. It could just be there's so much learning happening, and when it does come to fruition or not, the growth that I've had with this has been amazing. I'm really chuffed by it all. Really excited. There's more to come, I can feel it. But that more to come might be in a different stage of it, and I acknowledge that. So whereabouts are you at with your beliefs of manifestation or signs and symbols or anything? Maybe you don't believe. That's perfectly okay. I doubt you'd be listening to this if you didn't. I don't know what title I'm going to put to it, but I imagine it'll come through as, you know, with something about manifestation, signs and symbols. So if you're not into it, maybe you won't be listening to it anyway, and that's okay. if you are into that sort of thing and you have listened, then maybe pop a comment about it all, about your thoughts and anything that's happened to you. It's been significant. Have a good evening.